We've been sitting around waiting for Alpha 13 for approximately 20,000 years. Hey there, everybody. This is SunGod. How you doing? Well, that wasn't SunGod. Well, this isn't SunGod here either. This is just a bunch of screens that I grabbed off of Madmo's blog. Because as you all know, we've been sitting around waiting for Alpha 13 for approximately 20,000 years. It feels like it, doesn't it? Anyway, we seem to be on the cusp of that. Nobody's really telling us when. But all the indications seem to be sometime in the next several days. Hopefully, I don't even want to joke about weeks, months, or years, but all the indications give us that we're within days of probably the release of Alpha 13. Now, there is no comprehensive release notes yet at this time. However, I'm sure that true to form, that when the release comes out, there's going to be a big-ass list of changes, features, and improvements to wade through. But since you can't wait that long, and neither can I've decided to go through and cobble together a bunch of notes and things that I've gathered just by scanning through the forums and different blogs, etc., and seeing things that appear to be what's going to be in Alpha 13. So, enjoy these screens as they cycle through, and this is all stuff officially posted by Madmol, so thank you to him for letting me steal it and use it in the video, even though I didn't really get the permission to do it, but hey, this is a fan thing. Anyway, so here's what's coming through, and this is a very long list, so bear with me. I'm going to try and keep this not running on too long. So on the kind of high level, what we're going to see are things like a new harvest system. We're going to see, of course, new zombies in combat, new skill system, changes to building are supposed to be pretty predominant, cold weather survival. We're going to see a lot of new items added, changes in item behavior, a new GUI, a new HUD inside of the game. World generation is supposed to have gotten some love, points of interests, sound and audio, animals, and forging, and that's just the high level. That's not even me going into what I know about what these things are supposed to be. So let me tackle into some of these things one at a time, all right, without going too crazy on it. On the harvest system, so basically there's going to be a brand new harvest system. So you're going to get the resources while you're harvesting them. So as you go in and you beat on a tree, you don't have to wait for the whole tree to just collapse and then you get your blocks. Basically every time that you whack on a tree with an axe, you're going to get some stuff out of that tree while you're getting it. Stones are going to shrink with each hit, so if you're underground mining, you should see them. Actually, I'm not sure if it's underground mining, but I definitely know for sure above ground, when you're whacking on a rock with your pickaxe, you're going to see that stone shrink. So you actually get to see the effects of stuff happening. Unlike before, you'd sit there and wail on it, and then at the end, you'd finally get it. That's changed. Air conditioners now have to be harvested. You can't just open them up to get the contents. If you use the right tool, you're going to get some stuff out of it, like pipes, etc. if you use your wrench. But if you use the wrong tool, you're just going to get scrap. Same is true also with cars. Cars can be harvested as well. I mean, you could beat them for metal before and open them up and get a couple items. But if you use a pickaxe, you're just going to get metal. But if you use the right tool, you're going to get things like a wrench, headlights, cloth, maybe an engine, etc. I don't know the comprehensive list, but we'll find that out soon enough. More harvest items are going to be added into the game. That was just kind of teased. Not really sure what that is. I guess we're just going to have to kind of figure that out. Animals as well can be harvested. So you don't just loot them or you open them and grab the stuff out of them. You're going to attack them with a knife and you can get your meat and bones and hide, and there may be more, but that's what I know for sure. So moving on to zombies in combat, which is the whole point of this game, because we all love zombies and we all love killing zombies, and we just want to blow shit up, right? Am I right? That's why I play this game. Right on. So let's talk about them zombies. We've been knowing? We've known forever that motion capture animations were coming, and dun, da, 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 apparently they're in. They will be in finally. It's been described as all new HD zombies, but you know that's motion capture. That's kind of what it is. So hopefully we won't see the kind of jerky kind of animation that we saw in the past, but beautiful new motion capture. In my game industry days, I actually was involved in doing motion capture shoots and planning them, and let me tell you guys, it's a lot of work that goes into that. It is no trivial stuff, and I know it's come a long way in the years since then, but kudos to the pimps for putting this together. I'm really looking forward to it. Motion capture changes the feel for everything. It'll hopefully make it feel a lot more realistic. So fingers crossed that they're going to do a great job on that. Right, okay, so moving on. Zombies are going to respond when you shoot different body parts. So before you just shoot it, maybe you get a little jerk here or there. But now if you shoot or you hit a particular point of the body, that they're going to respond to that. So, you shoot them in the arm, they're going to grab their arm. You shoot them in the leg, the leg's going to react. You can dismember zombies, yes. So for you axe-wielding murderers out there, and you know who you are, you can go up and you can now cut their limbs off. You can shoot their limbs off. You can make them crawl after you, which they will do unless you kill them. I guess you have to do the headshot. So just shooting their legs just ain't gonna do it anymore. Let's see. Oh yeah, the bigger guys are gonna take more than one headshot. So, but that's always kind of been true. So I guess that remains the same. So I'm just curious to see how it goes now. I assume that all the old ways that we played before are probably gonna be gone. The Screamer zombie, the Screamer that we used to know and hate, has been changed. The Screamer used to act as the scout for the wandering hordes. So in before, you'd see the Screamer zombie wander by and he sees you and then he screams and then the horde shows up. Well, what's been changed now is that that scout, the Screamer is that was the Spider. I guess their terms are interchangeable, aren't they? The Spider is no longer the scout, the one that would crawl up the walls. So the Spider is now just the Spider, and he just crawls up walls, and he doesn't call the hordes anymore. There's a new dedicated Screamer zombie, which is replacing the Spider as the scout, and that one serves effectively the same purpose as what the scout did before. There have been, I think, a screenshot posted for it. Those of you who know, there was a dark one. You can see her right now. The lady poking through the window. That's a total coincidence. I didn't plan that. She's the one that is the Screamer. Looks kind of freaky, doesn't it? So does this mountain dude guy here. Anyway, so they'll call the hordes. There's a knockback system added. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I presume that you punch them in the face with your axe handle and they will knock back. I presume that also means that you can get knocked back as well. So we're just gonna have to play with that and see how it goes. So the way that hordes are treated apparently is different. So wandering hordes are awesome. I've always loved the wandering hordes. It's quite realistic. For me personally, the 7-day horde has seemed like a kludgy mechanism, in that I always had an issue with every 7 days, predictably, here comes the horde. Well, that's not really where 7 Days to Die apparently got its name, that was explained to us before, but I digress. I'm getting a little too nerdy about this. Anyway, so my personal opinions about that aside, apparently what is changing the 7-day hordes is that it used to be that as the server got older, or the number of days that went by, the hordes got increasingly harder and harder and harder. So if you had been playing on that server for 300 game days, and you had cranked up your guy to a bunch of levels, and then you have one of your friends join and they're suddenly level 1 on horde day, well, they're just gonna get massacred because they haven't had a chance to really get started. Whereas you are sitting in your nice underground post-apocalyptic bunker and you're eating TV dinners and watching football reruns. That's no longer the case. So what's going to happen is that every player on the server is going to get their own horde. That's right. They're no longer going to pick one dude on the server that gets butthurt. Everybody's getting some. And so to spare the level 1 dude that just joined on day 300, the difficulty of the hordes is going to scale. So that means that you, as a level 300 TV dinner eating football watching dude, you're gonna get the Nightmare Horde, and your buddy, who has set up his base across the river, he's gonna get the Disney Horde. He's gonna get the couple of weaklings that are just sort of scaled to him. So I think that's actually a nice touch. So despite my gripes about the kludginess of sort of that whole 7-day countdown mechanism, I think that's a fair compromise, at least for the people who like it. So I'm gonna give it a while and play with it, and I'm open to changing my mind. Okay, let's move on. I've talked about that enough. The new skill system. So we saw the introduction of the quality of levels of items in the past. One of the things that is going to get introduced now is a new skill system, so that basically when you craft and you use items, it's going to give you skill points. And to make items of more advanced quality, you're going to need a higher skill level. Now, that does not mean you're just going to be able to raise your level to 60 and suddenly be able to make awesome everything, because that's not the way that they've designed it. Apparently, the way that it's going to work is that every item in the game, I presume the ones that can be crafted, are now grouped into different skill groups. Some examples I heard about were like archery and bladed weapons and blunt weapons and construction, groups like that. So as you advance in a skill, or I guess make items in a particular group, that means your skill level in that group is going to increase. So you can become super awesome-o at making archery, but you're gonna suck at making knives. I'm not sure those groups are right, but that's the example that I understand the way that it's gonna work. So gaining skill experience lets you do more damage, and it allows you to craft a better quality of items as you get better at it. Item crafting is no longer tied to your items or to your character's level the way it was, but like I said, it's to your skill. And killing something now gives you more experience than just damaging it. So I guess if you go out and you just sucker punch a bunch of zombies and you run away because you can't take them out, you'll get less experience than if you go Chuck Norris on them and tear their heads off and eat their spines. No, I don't recommend trying that. Yeah, if you're Chuck Norris, you can try it, but you shouldn't try that at home, kids. Never mind, I said that. Anyway, same thing with, I don't even know why I said that. Felling a tree actually also gives you more experience than just by chopping on it. So if you're going out harvesting using the new harvest system, you whack on it with your axe, you get your few logs out of it or whatever, you're going to get less experience than if you actually went through and you just cut down the entire tree. Building, you know what, I don't know a lot about it. It's only been hinted at. I don't really even recall seeing anything shared about that visually. There have been some posts in the forums where they talk about what it's gonna be. I have to admit, I have not followed the forums as closely on this release as I have in the past. I used to be pretty religious about it, but frankly, the forums, guys, they become pretty derpy. There's a lot of just stupid waste of time stuff being posted in there these days. The noise has definitely gone up and the signal's gone down. But what I do know about building is that for those of you who love to build, we used to run around with inventories full of different block types for the appropriate thing that we needed to do, and it would fill up your inventory pretty quickly. Like frames, if you needed just a regular frame, a wood frame, you'd need the square frame, you'd have a ramp frame, then you have corner frames, and it was just ridiculous. Apparently that's changed. You have like a basic type of item, and you can use that to contort it into what you need for that particular moment. How that's going to work, I guess we're going to wait and see. But as somebody that is drawn to building type games myself and do an extraordinary amount of building in 7 days, this is going to be interesting. I'm really curious to see what they do, and hopefully it's cool. Weather's in. We've got rain. We've all seen fog. Fog's been around way too much. But weather matters. If you've played Ark Survival Evolved, then you probably have a pretty good idea of where this seems to be heading. Hot weather and cold weather matter, as do what you're wearing to protect yourself against the elements. So there are different, of course we know there are the different biomes, and each of those biomes are going to have different temperatures. Like for example, up in the mountains, we've all walked through the mountains and not frozen to death. We just saw the snow, but it didn't affect us. But now you can't really sojourn into the mountains without starting to freeze. So you're going to need the warm weather clothing, which they have introduced new warm weather clothing. So yeah, I guess we'll see more on that one as we get into, but I expect it's going to make the game one hell of a lot trickier. I guess combine that with water, deserts being hot. Deserts used to be an interesting place to camp out, but I guess the temperature could make it quite an experience. All right, moving on, because there is actually still a whole page and a half of items that I'd like to touch on here. Items that are being added or changed. I'll kind of run through these pretty quickly. Spotlights are being added into the game, which is pretty awesome. I think we were all getting kind of tired of just campfires. So you can use the spotlight to light up your area, use it for mining, and the stuff that we've seen some screenshots, it looks pretty awesome. Vault doors, finally. It's no longer just the iron door that we can use. You can now craft a vault door. It's animated, spinning handle. It looks like you're basically going through a battleship. Pretty cool. And I believe there are also vault hatches as well. I've seen that, or at least I heard that it was alluded to, but maybe not shown. Scrap metal hatches are there. Barbed fences have been redone. The last image that I saw them, they look pretty much like they have been in the game. However, the behavior is different. They now slow down zombies and players. And once you put them down on the ground, you can't move them. So you need to be pretty careful about what you're doing with the barbed wire fence. I'm kind of hoping that they actually redo the visual. They're kind of goofy looking. They're a little out of place with the rest of the game. Not really, I don't want to say realistic, but nothing about the game is realistic. I mean, it's a post-apocalyptic zombie game. So by its own premise, it's not realistic. But you know what? Whatever. Small things. First world problems. Oil shale is being added. Yes, that's right, kids. You can use oil shale that you mine in the desert or dig in the desert to turn it into gas using a beaker. So the way that we've been going about and producing gas is different. All the armor has been redone. Everything that I know about at this point is cloth. There's leather armor, iron, and allegedly Kevlar is coming. I have no idea if that's going to be Alpha 13, but that has been mentioned as something that's kind of in the works. Hide armor is warmer than leather armor. It can be crafted right away, and it's something that will help you a little bit if you're kind of hiking up into the mountains and you get into a colder climate. It's better protection than the cloth. Let's see, what else have we got here? A bunch of textures in the game are getting redone. I do not have a comprehensive list, but as I saw a mention that Madmal made is that pretty much all the textures in the game, like this tile right here, are getting redone at some point. This is just the first. So those the houses, the green, ugly interior 1950s kind of puke olive green colors. Well, that's the tile that you're looking at there. So it looks like it's going to get a facelift. So for those of us who've been playing since the game, playing the game for a long time, I've been playing since Alpha 5. I think we're in for some visual pretty. And as somebody that had to, like I said, work in the game industry before with artists, I really appreciate the work you guys do. You never get enough credit. Thank you for all of that. If it weren't for great art, we'd all be bitching about how shitty the games look. But thank you so much for that. Machetes in there, a puffer coat to help you keep warm up in the high altitudes. It's supposed to be the warmest item in the game. AK-47 has been added into the game. So has a homemade rocket launcher. The blunderbuss has been redone. It's now apparently the most powerful shotgun in the game. And I guess after that is the sawed-off shotgun and the pump shotgun. Or, I'm sorry, the long barrel shotgun. So as I understand it, the blunderbuss is going to be the best for up close and personal love that you want to share with your fellow men. your fellow women and your fellow undead of either or any gender. So, when you want to show the best, give them the blunderbuss. Radiation suits. Apparently they're going to be in there. Radiation, it does not sound like radiation is going to be an Alpha 13 thing. But it sounds like that is going to be a thing in the future. Radiation borders, for those who played Navezgane, I mean, that's been something that's been in there for ages. And once you went in it, you got a little nuked. But apparently it's now going to be spread around in the map. Just not sure what version that's going to be introduced in. Players, you got your new hairstyles. You've seen some screens here cycling by as some dudes with dreadlocks and an afro, and the beards look better. In general, I think the screens that I've seen of characters, they look substantially better than what they were before. I had made in, I think it was either 11 or 12, whenever they introduced that. It was basically a troll. I'm pretty sure everybody that's played this game in the last few months has made their goofy looking characters. They did the extreme settings to see how bad they can make them look. All right, moving on. Water, a big one. This is going to affect everybody because we all need water. We all interact with water. A lot of us use water for building or for whatever, building wells. Water's going to flow more realistically now. There has been an animation, a video that's been out there for a while, a pretty super hyper speed version of it showing how water spreads out. And it looks like it's going to act, I don't want to say Minecrafty. That's a very specific sort of comparison. But water now spreads out so that if you dig out from around it, it's going to spread out, whereas before it would not do that. So this could be a cool change. Rivers and lakes are endless sources of water. Toilets, interestingly, are also a source of water, which actually could be extraordinarily helpful for those who are nowhere near a natural source of water. So toilets, apparently you can dig in for water, but that it's going to be a finite source, which makes total sense. Basements can also now be flooded. So we've seen a screenshot of a zombie crawling around in a basement, and it looks like that could be pretty fucking terrifying, to be honest with you. And the way it's been explained is you can now do underwater exploration. I'm not sure what kind of exploration. I'm assuming that might include underwater caves. So take from that what you will. I don't know if there's going to be underwater breathing apparatus, but I would assume that maybe one day that would come. But I have heard nothing about that. All right, so jumping back to the blocks, actually, we talked about a new building system. We do know that all the blocks can be upgraded, including the doors. Madmol showed a video where he took a old house out in the boonies, and he upgraded an individual block from wood all the way up to steel. Now, what that's going to require is that you're going to have all the materials to do that upgrade. And so as long as you got the stuff on you, you can sit there and you can just upgrade the same block. I have mixed feelings about that. In a way, I like it. It makes it simpler because I was really tired of having to tear down wood frame stuff to replace it with concrete. So just in terms of time saving, I like it. So I'll see how it goes, but I think in principle I'll probably like it, just because I spent way too much time rebuilding stuff. All the blocks have a repair cost, so just as we were talking about, it costs me, money to upgrade the materials. It's going to cost you stuff to repair those. If you drop an item, it's going to show you a message that you dropped it. I don't know how many times that I have just dropped something in the past and not really realized it, so any kind of indication that helps me realize I was being an idiot, that would be great. Stepping on trash, you can now get some sounds out of it, so no more quietly sneaking around inside of houses. I presume it would be kind of cool if we got some occasional random wood squeaks in there for wooden houses as well. I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so jumping back to clothing. Sorry, these aren't in a more clear order. I just took some notes. But coats, like the one that we were talking about before, the fur one, the cold weather coat, you can put that on top of your clothing, and it's not going to obscure the clothing that was beneath it. So that if you've got one of those cold weather coats, that puffer coat, you can still see your armor. I think a duster is also being introduced as well. So which is kind of cool. You build this badass armor, and you want the world to see it. It's not going to obscure it, so you're not going to be just that guy with an AK-47 running around a puffer coat. You're going to be that guy with an AK-47 running around in a puffer coat that also has Kevlar armor underneath it. Right on. Coffee. The thing that we all love in real life, and we can't live without it, and neither can we in 7 days. Coffee now gives you a stamina boost. It always gives you a stamina boost, but it helps you warm up. And that's the new thing about it. This matters when you're in a cold climate. You're having a cold, hard day at the office and you need to warm up, have a cup of coffee. The downside is that the coffee is also going to cause you some dehydration. So you're going to have access to water to rehydrate. A lot of people, myself included, once you could start growing your own coffee, man, there was no point to carry around water. It just didn't really matter. I would carry around coffee, and I think, oh my gosh, what's the name of the yellow flower? I'm completely spacing out. You know the ones that I'm talking about. The tea. It's the other tea that you can make. That's all I would carry around. But now it's like if you're getting coffee, you need to run across the map. You need to bring some water or something else to rehydrate you. The downside also to coffee is if you're like in a warm weather environment and you're drinking coffee to run a long way, it's going to heat you up extra warm because you're already in a warm environment, right? So you need to be a lot more careful about how you're doing that. It's probably going to make you think more carefully instead of just plowing ahead through the world. So I think that little by little what we're starting to see are mechanics being introduced that are making it more of a thinking game and think before you act, as opposed to just diving in and going for it. Now, that's not going to keep me from doing plenty of stupid crap, because I guarantee you I'm going to do plenty of stupid crap. But things like that, I think are going to change the way we play. It's just going to be interesting to see how dramatically it can help. Okay, one other note, actually. One thing that was mentioned is that there's new red tea, which is going to help you be able to cool down, which is kind of interesting. All right, we'll see how that one works. One other thing that was mentioned that was actually quite interesting was the possibility of addiction. So there could be things in the game which, if you use too often, could cause you to be addicted. Now, that was just kind of left out there hanging. There was nothing that was said by Madmal in the forums, but there's who knows what that could be. I mean, it might be the meds, and maybe it's coffee. I don't know what the effects would be of if you get addicted. I'm sure there's going to be a negative consequence to it. Maybe, I don't know, you have delusions, or who knows what it's going to be. But it could be kind of interesting. The new GUI, haven't really seen any of the new GUI. Supposed to be some transparencies in it, and I imagine it's going to be sexy and cool. But frankly, it's long overdue. The GUI that we've been using basically has been around since I've been playing the game since Alpha 5, which was, I think I started playing January 2014 or thereabouts. So we've been using the same GUI for the better part of 2 years. So hey, it's nice. New in-game HUD. HUD's getting some love. Looking at various screenshots, I'm not sure if these are the final ones, but now the health, food, and water indicators in the lower left seem to have changed from the vertical bars. They seem now to be a little bit more horizontal, and apparently now they're only going to pop up at certain times when there's some event or as kind of a notification. I guess it's to sort of reduce the visual impact, like these on the lower left here, right? So as I've read, they're only going to pop out at 75%, 50%, and then stay on when you get to 25%. So I think it's just kind of an indicator of like, hey idiot, you hurt yourself, you're at 75%, and then I presume it disappears, I guess, and then 50%, hey, dumbass, 50%. So yeah, we'll see how that works out. I know that's been a bit of a controversial issue. Some people like to have like a real-time read on their stats at all time. I kind of lean in that camp, but we'll see how it works out. All right, back to the world and points of interest. I'm a big fan of the random generated world, and I know that Alpha 12 was a step backwards, and I know that there were some reasons for it. Apparently, the burnt forest biome has returned. I believe that there's another biome that has returned, and I'm failing to remember what that was. Lakes and rivers should be in 13. Random world generation is still unlimited, which for me is actually awesome. As a server admin and as an avid fan, I like to be able to say, "Fuck this place, I'm moving somewhere else," and not have to worry about 20 other people having a base in the same area. Now, some people would argue, "Oh, you don't need it unlimited," and it should. I don't know what the reasons would be why they would want that, but. Worst case, if they want to limit it, just put it in a config file somewhere. Let us go in and change the config. I would like to have unlimited. I host it on a system that can handle it. I'm not worried about it. I never have enough players going with so many chunks that it's going to be a problem. So, hey, I'm just happy that it's still unlimited. Abandoned house points of interest. They no longer have zombies near them, which is great. I doubt that would be all points of interest, but apparently a certain type of house where you can get in and get started and just hide out overnight and maybe convert it into a base. It was always kind of a drag to find a place out in the wilderness, and it would be completely torn apart because it had spawned zombies in it. So hopefully that will help with that. There's a new utility station point of interest in there. It's got a lot of control panels and blinky, flashy lights and everything, and hopefully we can sort of harvest and pillage those things so we can put it in our base and have our own cool little blinky lights. In general, they've tried to make everything look, more, in their words, decrepit. The examples they were saying is that they try to put more like old tires out on the lawn and, walls with missing boards, a bunch of debris laying around all the place. So the screenshots I've seen so far definitely kind of lend themselves to it looking intentionally nastier and grittier, which is pretty cool because it's supposed to be after the apocalypse. So sound and audio. So you know what? I'd say there's one thing which actually is such a small thing, but it may have been difficult to do and is so hugely important to the game, is that you can no longer hear zombies in the distance. Let me hear a yeah. Come on. All right, that's important, isn't it? Yeah, no kidding. Forever you could hear a zombie forever away from you, and it would sound like it was right behind you. And it was great for scaring the shit out of you, but after a while it just became annoying because you never really knew. I mean, you're using your ears and your audio senses to try and determine if there's danger, and it was giving you a false reading, right? So after a while you just kind of tune it out. So for those of us that have been playing the game for a long time and we never really paid attention to it, we need to start retooling our brains to realize that noise right behind us really is right behind us. Turn around! So, hey, kudos to the pimps, to the guys who are working on that. I appreciate that. All right, we're almost done here. Animals, zombie bears are now in, which are going to be pretty cool. Stephen Colbert will be terrified. Bears only attack when they are attacked. Now, that's what I understand. I kind of liked it when they would charge after you, though. I thought it was always kind of funny seeing a bear and a bunch of zombies get in a fight and see who'd win. Actually, I thought about using bears as defense as well, but they may depopulate once you leave an area. Chickens. Chickens have been added. I know. It's important. The most important addition of the game was the chicken. Believe it or not, that actually really does matter because it's going to give you a source of feathers and for your crossbow bolts and for your arrows. And I would assume meat. Now, the only thing I don't know is if the chickens are going to go and no, I guess it's the turkey, but whatever noise that chickens make, insert chicken noise here, if they're going to attract zombies. You're building a base, they hear chickens. Are they going to be drawn to that? I would figure that they would be. I don't know. Forging is my last point. Forging is supposed to be very different, and we have not really been told much other than we have to figure it out ourselves. So, I imagine forging could potentially either be widely loved or widely hated, or maybe both. I guess we're going to find out in a few days, aren't we? Yeah, guys, that's about it for my list right now. I think there's not much else that I can really add to this other than this has definitely been the longest wait between major releases that I've experienced. But I tell you what, based on the things that I hear and I read about, this is without question going to be probably the most humongous update that we've seen from the pimps in quite some time. I'm excited. I have actually intentionally not played the game for close to 2 months, which for me is kind of ridiculous considering I've put just a shit ton of hours in. I think it's like 2,000 hours or something into the game. Do the math. That's a lot. So the break was nice, but I'm ready for something new and to see what they've got, and for everybody to come back and join on the server. If you've not visited it before, please stop by. It is called The Long Dark Night. You can find it just by searching around, or you can go into longdarknight.com. I've got the URL at the end of the video here. But that's it for me, and when 13 comes out, I'm going to do some more walkthroughs and playthrough videos and everything, and we'll get this thing going. Alright, everybody, that's it for me. I am SunGod, and you have a happy zombie apocalypse, everybody. Ciao.
Happy zombie apocalypse, everybody!